What do you want? I'm in the middle of a podcast. Leave me alone.
This guy who really is, I think, a bad guy. Russell, I think you are a bad guy.
I'm not going to sit here and tell you what you want to hear. I'm going to tell you what the truth.
I don't want him knowing where I live.
You can hate Russell, but one thing you cannot take from Russell is his ability to play that game.
I ain't finished playing just yet.
Welcome to the Russell Hantz Show. We have long lost Phoebe, traveling around the world. Where have you been, Phoebe?
I have been all over.
Let's tell the Let's tell the listeners.
Are we live? Are we live already?
We're live, girl. We're live.
Oh, okay. Oh, hello.
Let's tell the listeners why we skipped a whole week. Mike, my sweet co-host.
We skipped two, and I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. It has been really difficult, more difficult than I imagined. I mean, Russell, you went to that Hearts of Reality event in the past, right?
Yes, a train wreck.
Oh my goodness.
Now the Give Kids the World is a great organization. It's amazing. It's an amazing thing what they do, and it's an amazing thing what Mike does for that organization. Yeah. But it's a train wreck, and that's not Mike's fault, though.
No. I mean, look, I had an amazing time. I mean, obviously the cause was, everyone was there for the cause, and it is such a beautiful cause, particularly close to my heart.
Everyone is not there for the cause, Phoebe.
Well, I was there for the cause.
Okay,
personally.
All right. Let's get that straight.
My nephew got really ill last year, and so and we were very lucky, but my family went through a lot. So to be supporting kids with terminal illnesses was a cause that was it was very close to my heart, and it was really cool to be part of it.
It's an amazing organization, and I will never be part of the reality part. I don't know how to put that, but I'll be part of Give Kids the World, and I'll help that organization, but I just won't be a part of that craziness at the
reality side.
Yeah, right. So
well, it's definitely an experience, that's for sure. There are a lot of big personalities, and I've got to say, I think my body was more depleted after 4 days at Hearts of Reality. My body was more depleted than the 31 days on the island after Survival.
They must have been chasing that tail around all around the hotel. I'm sure I had all them boys chasing you. Right?
I've got a couple of marriage proposals, Russell. I actually ended up getting I just decided I'd get my own book signed. I went around and got everyone to sign it, and I read it back afterwards, and I was like pretty amazed. There were quite a few marriage proposals in there, so I did okay.
You got to be careful. They got also we did a podcast on Corinne and Max's All the Fixins, and they had somebody calling in and giving us the scoop, telling us that yes, a fan girl was giving us the scoop and told didn't tell us, told Max that she already slept with 2 married reality stars.
Oh, I mean, there's a lot happens.
So if I was you ladies and gentlemen, I'd keep your married ones home.
Yeah. I'm gonna no comment all of that, but right. A lot happens.
Yeah, that's disgusting.
Hey, some of us aren't married, Russell.
Right. I guess it's all right if you're not married. So we're gonna get into what's happening with the Australian Survivor. We're gonna go back a little ways, but we're gonna you guys are probably gonna hear us skip around like crazy. So just bear with us until we get to the last couple of episodes. Then we'll probably straighten it up a little bit. But the first thing I want to talk about, because I've been wanting to talk about it for a while, is the challenge. Now this is gonna turn into the AK show. I'm gonna go ahead.
Well, he is the star so far.
I said this from the beginning. I said I seen all-star potential in him. I said I see it. I can see it. I can when I see something that great. But I'm gonna tell you this: you are watching a legend be born. right now.
I love him. I have so much praise for him. He's doing a really, really good job, especially considering how hot he came in. Like, he's literally turned himself around completely. It's been incredible to watch.
I called it from the beginning when I seen
You did.
his play.
You absolutely did.
A legend can recognize another legend. Let me tell you something else. We're going to definitely get into him a lot more. But he is going to be on the All-Star season, so be buddies with him. Get buddies with him.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We're already friends.
Oh, that's good girl. Good girl.
But no, that's not why. Actually, he's actually really sweet. Really, really nice guy.
Yeah,
I have a lot of. Yeah, he's really, really cool. The main thing I love about him, and I know that we're going to talk a lot more about him because he's been involved in absolutely everything. What I love is that he gives really intelligent confessionals. You really get to see the rationale for what he's doing, and everything makes a lot of sense. And I, in particular, like that because, you're seeing kind of his intentions and then you kind of watching it all play out. And it's brilliant. I love it.
Right. And not only that, this is where we're going to start. We're going to start with that challenge where they're holding their hands up and they're holding some kind of wooden object against their teammates that's holding it up on the other side. Now, you have the two strong alpha males. At the very end of it, you have the two strong alpha males on the other end. Who was the two? Help me with the names.
So on the other side, we had Henry and Mark.
Okay.
Which was such a lucky pairing because I think they said it was a random draw. So they just happened to be put together, which is really lucky.
And then you have AK and the Olympic.
And Ziggy. Yeah, she's killing it in the challenges.
Now that, to me, when he was doing that challenge, I went back when I did the challenge, when I'm holding up the in my mind, I went back to Samoa when I was so focused and I was holding up this statue against Brett that just won 4 in a row. Now, what I seen,
I remember that.
What I seen when I was watching AK, not only is he there strategically, he is ready. He's ready to play that game, and he is focused. Now, they didn't win the challenge, but damn near did. He was the last one standing on that one side, and he was against the two alpha males that obviously was going to win the challenge. You know, and
but they fought for a very long time. It was very impressive.
Like almost 2 hours.
I know. I was very, very impressed. They broke so well.
When he did that, I'm like, this dude's killing it in challenges too. And then then later on we'll get to the other challenge. He's doing very well in the challenges to where you don't want to get rid of him at this point, even physically.
Agree.
It just makes it. And we're talking to more, definitely talking to when you start getting rid of strategic. You get your feelings hurt. You want to get rid of a physical player.
I agree. I mean, and I think that's a very traditional way to look at it. But I have heard, and look, I mean, I could be wrong on this, and if I am, I apologize, AK. I think he was actually once quite a good athlete. I think I've been told that.
Hey, look at me. I was fat as hell my first time I played, and I was a hell of an athlete all through high school and college.
Right. So, I mean, sometimes I think that natural ability doesn't leave you.
Okay, I
think he actually has had a
you can tell
football
too.
or something like that. Yeah, I think he actually was once quite athletic, but again, I might be making that up, but I'm pretty sure someone told me that.
He seems like he is. So we'll go with that.
I think
we'll go
so
ahead and
too.
go with that.
Yeah.
And then now we have in this episode, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 of them back, guys. So, but in this particular episode, this is what happens, and we still see it happening recently. Tara going after AK. Let me tell you. Let me give you guys some advice. If you play the game, if you see a great strategic player, and then all you're saying is let's go after him because he's so good at the game, he's going to get the better of you. How about this? How about align with that person and get to the end with that person? How about that?
Oh, I agree. It doesn't make sense to take out all your threats. And I think that's something I'm seeing a little bit in the confessionals we get from Henry. I know we're talking about Tara, but that's something that concerns me about Henry's confessionals, in that he's trying to strike very early on all of his threats. And my concern for him is if he keeps going the way he's going, that there won't be any threats left. And all of a sudden,
That's
once
what
you're
Henry's
the
doing.
big, right, and once
we'll
you're the
get
biggest
into
threat in the
that.
game, then guess what? You're next. So it's not necessarily a good thing to be taking out all of the threats so early. But
Right, and that's- and
there's
he-
still
you
a
know,
long
we'll
way
get-
to go. And
we'll
threats,
get into
threats are
Henry.
ever evolving, aren't they? Threats are ever evolving.
Right,
They
we'll
change.
get into Henry, and because we got a lot to talk about him too. But when Tara, if you go after a great player, especially a legendary player, you better not miss, because. And the thing is, she keeps doing it. It reminds me of Laura, my season. Like, shut the fuck up already. Like, let's
I liked Laura.
try to work with him, because
I
you're not
think
going to
the
get rid of
issue-
him.
Right, and the issue isn't, look, for me, it's not that she's going after him. It's that she's overtly going after him. So if you're going to do it, and he is as good as you say he is, you need to be really subtle about it. As you say, at least make him think you're working with him. So when they got to that point recently in those episodes, and they decided they were going to split the vote, they tried to bring in Annalise there. So, and I think that was because she wasn't so positionally opposed to him, whereas Tara was. So it wasn't as though she even... she didn't do any option generating there. She cornered herself to the minority by doing that.
Right.
Like, he was in the power position. He was sitting in the majority. So by basically, stamping your feet in the ground and kind of going, no, I'm opposed to you, you literally limit all of your options to...
So it's funny. It's funny how this works, because they have Amy, Lucky,
Yeah.
and Tara going after AK, talking shit at Tribal Council. If you notice, AK's sitting there like playing his social game.
He's
not
played it beautifully.
He's not saying anything aggressively to them. So he's also playing his social game. So first you have Amy, Lockie, and Tara going after AK. Amy goes home. And then you have Annalise, Lockie, and Terry. I mean, come on, guys. Come on.
Well, I think that tribal was so interesting as well, because, the fact that Amy was very outwardly open about the fact that there were, divisive lines in the tribe meant that everyone had to act all the more harder, because they knew what was going to happen, and yet they put on such a performance that, they were completely blindsided.
Right.
So, AK in that tribal council was brilliant. He
was.
pulled that off so well. Yeah.
I'm watching.
He did. Yeah, he literally seemed
watching,
concerned, and he knew he wasn't going home. It was amazing.
I'm watching this dude play all aspects of the game.
Oh, and likewise.
He may be the best player I've ever seen, ever.
He's very, very good.
There is some things he makes little mistakes every once in a while. That's why I'm gonna have to put him a step below me. So, because, for instance, I'm gonna give you a for instance here. When they went on their challenge, AK said, "Where's the clue?" So immediately everybody starts freaking out, instead of just looking for the clue himself. If he sees the clue, grab it, put it. But I agree. But then it could be a strategic play, but I don't think it was.
I think it was. I reckon it was, because I thought that too. I was like, why would you say that? But honestly, maybe he had already looked and didn't find it. So maybe he was thinking someone else has got it.
If it's a strategic play, it's a bad one, because this is the only thing I disagree with what he's done. Because let's say there is a clue, and the next time you don't want to hype up everybody's antenna every time they go to a challenge, because next time you might find it. So you're getting everybody into the game like, oh, there's a clue. Just get your team and say, there may be a clue. Let's look. Don't tell the whole. Yeah. I just think it was.
Yeah, and I think it also speaks to your own state of mind, which is not necessarily something you want to alert everybody to, in that you're constantly thinking, even in that situation. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So
you don't want to
I agree.
alert them.
Yeah, so it's I don't know, the payoff, even if it is a strategy, the payoff isn't worth it. Like this, I agree. It wasn't necessarily the right thing to say. But
Right.
look, it's forgivable because everything else he does is so good. So we'll let
Right?
that slide.
No. He's great, amazing. He's already becoming a legend, and then
he's gonna be blushing so hard right now listening to this.
Well, it's what's happening. It's what I see, and I tell it as it is because I wanted Henry to win the game. Now I don't, because I'm going accordingly to. I love great gameplay, but not stupid gameplay. I like.
I'm still a Henry fan as well, though.
I like watching brains at work. I like watching brains at work. I like watching strategic minds in play, and that's what I'm watching. That's what I'm watching with AK.
Me too, and that goes back to what I said about his confessionals as well. They're always very insightful, very intelligent, well thought through. He's onto everything. And, normally he'll state his intention. I like that we get the intention and then he goes ahead and executes it and pulls it off. And I agree. It's just like watching this strategic mastermind manipulate all these little pieces, and it's good. I don't think he'll win, and I don't think he can win, to be honest.
If he makes it to the end, he's winning. But I
agree, but I just don't.
It's going to be really
tough. 55 days. Like,
right. It's going to be really tough for him to get to the end.
He's so aggressive. It's got to catch up to him at some point, surely. He's too good, and everyone knows it. He's a marked man, 100%.
Well, I was pretty aggressive.
This swap can't be good either.
Swap
that just happened.
Look, I was pretty aggressive when I played all the way to the end, and I made it all the way to the end of the game. So,
but imagine if you had another 2 weeks to get through. Like, it would have been extra hard.
I would have made it easily because I had everything under control already. It was my tribe wasn't flipping on each other, and that's what you need.
You didn't have these shitty production twists where the people you're supposed to vote out didn't go home. Like, that's really going to. This is what happened to me, Russell. I was very much hard done by production twists. So I just don't think that's going to be helpful for him either.
Okay, so we have Tara saying he just gets to walk around and vote everybody off. Yeah, opposed to you doing what? It's funny how if he wasn't doing it, wouldn't you be doing it, Tara? And
well, that's what happened, because she was sitting very happily in the majority and she was feeling very comfortable. And then the minute she found herself on the minority side of the numbers, she was very emotional and upset. So I like her character. I think she's great, but I just wouldn't want to play with that. She's so emotional, very emotive responses. It's very hard to work with, I personally find, because, you want to be working with people who are rational.
So this is how far we're going back here. Again, Henry throws a challenge again. This time he succeeds
Sam
to get rid of Sam, and obviously that's going to piss off Mark, right?
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, that was
the plan at first.
Yeah, those episodes were hard. Sam and Mark are friends of mine, so I was like, no.
Yeah, so now it's literally at this point in the game, it's more Mark versus Henry, which I don't get because either one in a game that's so long, and then what's gonna happen when that happens, and it's happening. Is the other person's gonna get pissed? They're gonna come after you. Everybody's gonna come. Then all of a sudden, you got a bunch of wimpy people and challenges, and you're not gonna win.
Right, and I mean, I agree with that. I think it's
too early.
It's first time players' mistake, though. I think you go out guns blazing, and it's
Well, you see, they're playing strategically. I get it. Henry's playing strategically. He wants to get rid of Mark because ultimately that's who he's targeting. I'm not a fool. So he wants to get rid of Mark.
I wrote something down about this, actually.
Look, he wants to get rid of Mark because he wants to be the alpha male that's in there. He wants to be able to take control. But he's threatened by all alpha males. To me, Henry's the kind of guy that you can't bring your girlfriend around him because he's that guy that would do something to his own friend's girlfriend.
No.
He feels threatened. He feels threatened by any alpha male that has any type of authority. That's my take on Henry.
Well,
so Henry, if you're listening,
although I don't know that Mark had any authority, though. I think.
Listen, if Henry's listening, I'm just saying that I'm not bringing my girl around him.
Well, he does speak in a way that he says he's very charming, so maybe that's a good idea. And you can't trust him, obviously.
See, that's what I'm saying. There you go. You agree.
Yeah, sure, but I don't think that it's about being threatened by other authorities, because I didn't really get the impression that Mark had a lot of authority. I think that the reason that he's targeted Mark is because Mark wants revenge.
Okay,
Mark's
then why did he target Luke then, honey?
He didn't.
He was.
Did he?
Yes, he was targeting Luke. So because
Who?
Luke
No, he wasn't.
Yes, he was. He was targeting Luke after that. He was going to go after Luke.
He said
and
the
then,
social threat.
There you go.
Yeah.
And it's not.
Yeah, he did.
It's not a social threat. He's targeting Luke because he's an
Luke,
alpha male.
Luke was on. No, but Luke was on the other side of the Mark vote. That's why.
He was
because Luke tried to rally numbers against Jackie.
Yes,
so I can kind of,
Other people were too. Why don't you go after somebody
Jericho?
else? Why don't you go after a weaker one? Why?
Because Luke looks like the mastermind in the Jericho alliance. That's
bullshit.
why.
He said that Luke was a social guy. To you, he does. To us, he does, but not to him. He didn't say nothing about mastermind or strategic player. He said social.
Yes, that's true.
He said
social
player. So he could have easily went after somebody else. I'm telling you, the reason he went after Mark, the reason he went after Luke is because he's afraid of the alpha male. He wants to be the one in authority, and it shows.
He definitely wants to be the one in authority. I agree, but I don't know if it's as simple as
the man authority.
Being threatened by alpha. Yeah,
he wants to be
I don't know if I'm convinced about that. I'm not convinced about that.
Ooh, that guy.
The other thing I would say about that, because I was very curious about that whole Mark vote, considering he was such a challenge asset and there's such a long way to go, is that these players in season 2, they have the benefit of having watched season 1. So I think on some level and in some regard, they are able to anticipate timing just a little bit.
Right.
So, for example, at last year, after 6 people had left the game, we had a tribe swap. So I'm wondering if it's on the players' minds, including Henry's, that, okay, there's roughly 5-6 people gone, a swap's coming soon. So maybe they're less concerned about challenge assets. You know what I mean? Like they have the benefit of knowing that, because you're sitting at, around 3 weeks, about 5 or 6 people have gone. Last season, that was around the time of a swap. So I feel like it's fair to kind of infer that maybe, it'd be coming.
Well, yeah, well,
and they
you never know with Australian Survivor
this year as well. Apparently, I hate that about Australian Survivor. But they depart from the format. It's frustrating.
Yeah, I don't know if they departing from the format. I think that was because you have to legally put down almost a plan of how your season is going to go. I know in America they have not a script, but it has to be a certain way.
They have it planned before,
right?
Sure.
Because
I agree that they I don't think they change it mid-game or anything like that. Yeah, I just mean that I don't like that they have these non-voting episodes.
Yeah, because of what just happened. We'll get more into that a little bit. What just happened with the 2 that were voted out, and then all that went down. If that was the case, they would have saved that. They would have saved that for AK, but they did it then. So I think.
I agree. I don't think they manipulate it in the middle of the game. I think it's more like when I say depart from the format, I meant when they're planning the game and they plan the ops. I don't like that they trick players. I find that really frustrating. It makes me angry. Maybe I'm like, maybe it's too soon for me because I was on the wrong side of it last year. I don't know, but I kind of watch it and I'm like, come on, guys. Yeah. Why do we have to trick our players? Because if you've got a situation where you're voting someone out of the game versus voting someone to another tribe, you might be making very different, strategic decisions.
Right.
So I don't think that it's to the benefit of even your TV show necessarily to trick your big players, because they're the ones that are providing all the entertainment value. Right. They're the ones that are giving you the great TV through their great strategy. And for me, like I said, it's too soon for me.
Yeah. So it's too soon.
I had this happen last year,
right? So it's Henry. Henry's going after Amy, right? Henry's going after Amy, Mark's girl. Mark's going after Jackin. What's her name? Jacqueline.
Sam. You're talking about Sam.
No.
Henry's going after.
No.
Sam, Mark's girl.
Oh, Sam's Mark's girl, right? So Henry's going after Sam. Mark's girl, and Mark's
Yes,
going after Henry's girl.
Yeah.
So what do you think about that? Do you see to me that's just terrible gameplay because you're going after personal. These are personal aspects of that person, and that person happens to be the strongest one in your tribe. So ultimately, they're just going after each other, Henry and Mark.
I agree, and I don't think Mark would have come for Henry otherwise, because Mark and
I don't think
Sam
so
were of the view that him and Sarah and Jackie, Mark and Sam were in an alliance. So Mark wouldn't have gone for Henry, except for the fact that, they told him. Otherwise, Mark was with them. But he only turned against them because, they totally blindsided him.
And he's such a huge asset to your tribe. You know what? He's not even the kind of guy.
And he can't win. He can't win. He's too big to win.
And
he can't win.
The problem with getting rid of him so early is he's trustworthy too. So it's just a huge. I think that he's trustworthy too. I think that Mark.
I think so too. Yeah, he was.
So
I think so.
So you get rid of your biggest powerhouse for your challenge, and he's trustworthy.
Right, but
bad
having
move.
said that, yeah, I know. I yes and a no. So on the one hand, I think, it's like taking out Sam. Does that then put into Henry's mind, okay, there's just no going back when it comes to Mark. That trust is damaged. I can't get that trust back. Therefore, I may as well get rid of him. If, once you've damaged trust, it is really hard to get back. So in Henry's mind, it may have been the case that he's like, well, there's just no strategic value left in having Mark around anymore because he's coming for me, A, and B, the damage is done. So what's the point in having this person around who might, he knows that Mark wants vengeance. So I can also see the rationale in thinking, well, I'm just going to get rid of him now, and that way I don't have this person hot in my case.
Yeah, but he doesn't even go try to talk to him. He doesn't even try.
And we don't see him try. Yeah, it would have been better to re-nurture that relationship, bring him back in.
I don't think
tell
he
him,
does.
look, we needed to take out Sam.
I
think we would have seen it if he did. That would have been my play as well. Bring him back in.
Because
Mark was he was the only person on the outside of that vote, and that's very isolating. So Mark being as isolated as he was, it's a perfect time to bring him back in.
Okay, so no Mark, no fire. That's what Jericho says. And
how about Jericho? I know,
putting
hilarious.
out the fire.
So we need to talk about his cooking monster. We missed all of his cooking monster strategy back in episode 4, which is really early and a long time ago, but it was pretty good. I think we should talk about it.
Well, he's being a little devil. He gets the whole thing of cookies and he privately eats them, but he uses them for his little, what does he call it? His
cooking monster.
No, he calls it not his kingdom. Does he call it his kingdom? Like his troops or something like that. So he's putting together some troops and telling them, hey, nobody knows I have these cookies. Here, you can have some cookies, and this is just for you and me. So what he's doing there is, getting loyalty to these people that think that,
they're the only ones.
They're the only ones.
I was very curious about the rules on that, because what was interesting is that we see Tarzan go off for the moral dilemma, and he's not allowed to share it with anyone. It's either you take it all or you leave it all kind of thing. And he comes back and he's like, couldn't do it, and he brought the firewood back. What a sweetheart. And then you have Jericho, and I just wonder, did you wonder about that, the rules? Like, you're obviously not allowed to share it with the tribe, but you're allowed to share it with one or two people?
That might have been stepping outside the rules.
Surely, because that's did they change them? Do you know what I mean? I was like, well...
Right, that was his
if Tarzan could have shared it with a handful of people, maybe he would have. I don't know. I just wasn't sure about that.
Yeah,
because
Tarzan couldn't have took it back and shared it with the entire tribe, or he would have done
right.
that.
So I was wondering, why was he allowed to
he made what happened is the same things I do. Jericho wanted to make good TV out of it. It was good TV, so they went ahead and let him,
Yeah, that's what I mean. I'm like,
it is what it is.
Yeah,
I like
it was clever. It was very clever.
Mm-hmm. And you got Luke. Luke, I love Luke. But
I love him. And he needs to go home though. He's such a loose cannon. You can't. Luke has authority issue. He has such an authority issue.
Right.
Anyone that tells him who to vote for, he's like, absolutely not. No one tells me what to do.
Right.
He's like a bad child. You need to you know what I mean?
And the funny thing
he doesn't
is,
want to be told what to do.
Even if he wants if he wants that person going home, and then somebody says we need to vote this person, he'll change the vote because it's he doesn't want to be told what to do.
I know, and it's such a funny thing. But do you know what was super interesting? Who was it? Someone said something about him, and I liked that they observed this trait. I think it might have been Ben, who I now want to call Sideshow Bob hilarious. Luke has this authority issue and doesn't, because if you can recognize people's motivations like Survivor, you can, calling the shots and try making decisions. So the minute you deprive him of that, you're offsiding him. Right. So Luke needs to feel like he's making the call, and anyone that can recognize that and make Luke feel that it's his idea, then
they're not.
That's a good thing.
That ain't never gonna happen.
But they're
Nobody's
not
gonna
realizing it. Why aren't they realizing that? They need to recognize that.
He is extremely dangerous. Luke is extremely dangerous.
And he's so charming as well.
Yeah.
He's so funny. He's hilarious. He's got a lot of charisma. And it's very dangerous.
He's playing Russian roulette is what he's doing. He don't care. He's just doing whatever. And the thing is, he's dangerous for your own tribe. Would you actually want to align with someone like that? I mean, he's great.
I would rather be aligned with him than not aligned with him.
Yes, for sure.
You want to be on his side.
Right.
I think that until recently, I would say, the person who's doing a good job of playing in between all of that is Sarah.
Right.
She got invited in with the cookies.
Right,
so, she was kind of with them there. She was with the other guys. She seems to have been a little undetected. I mean, until this last episode. Right. She seemed to be, and not really on anyone's radar, not on Luke's radar, which is a good thing you don't want to be on Luke's radar.
Another thing.
You know what I mean?
Since we're talking about Sarah real quick, I just want to give another piece of advice for you Aussies that's going to play Survivor. When you're having a conversation with someone and then somebody else walks up, don't ever say, "Give me a second. Give me a minute, please," because it's like, wait, what? Okay, I'll give you a minute. I'll give you a minute at home because obviously you're talking about me. Like, what is that? Give me a minute.
Yeah, look.
I ain't finished discussing how we can get rid of you. Give me a second, please.
Yeah, a little bit mismanaged there. But I think high pressure situation just before Tribal, she was genuinely sounds like making up her mind in that moment, and I don't know. She obviously, it probably wasn't done quite right.
Yeah, so we got.
That was the first mistake I've seen, though. I haven't seen any other mistakes from her. No, that was the first mistake I've seen from her.
Yeah, I agree.
That's okay.
But that's a huge.
And she's still in the majority.
That's a huge mistake to make. It could be to where you just go ahead and forget about it. But at that point in time, if somebody would do that to me, then I would gun for them immediately. I'm just saying, that's what I would do.
Yeah, it was done to me a lot at Vivale. At Vivale, I'm talking about my own season. Last season, it was this weird thing where people would literally come up to other people and be like, "Hey, can I have a conversation with you?" And they'd walk, and it was very weird. I hated it.
Right. So Luke,
it was weird, and I wonder if there's some kind of weird etiquette thing going on. I don't know.
Right. So we got Luke. Luke's tribe wins the reward challenge. I don't know where we are right now, guys, but you'll remember this part. And he finds the idol clue. Luke finds the idol.
Oh, yeah.
Luke
that was
it Luke and Henry that finds the idol clue?
Yes, I think it was, wasn't it?
I think so, yeah.
And it was the nail clippers?
Yes, the nail clippers.
So funny. And I was watching this episode actually with Adam. We were watching it the other day, and he was like, "How unfair is it that they've got the clue like that? Because it's so big. Where are the girls going to put it? They're not going to be able to put it in their bikini or something, Right. Did you see how big it was?
Right.
And then fast forward a few minutes, and it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. So
Because it's true, though. You wouldn't have been able to hide that
No.
if you're a woman.
So they go back to tribal, and we have Tara again. But this time she thinks she has somebody to flip and to get AK out. Luke, he's starting the fire. He's getting, he's stepping into the position of homemaker here. Again, we have Tara, Annalise, and Lockie trying to get rid of AK again, right?
Yep. And do you know who was impressive on this particular vote? So are you talking about after the Amy blindside?
Yes. After that, then we have
episode 6, where Tara loses it after tribal at them. She goes crazy at them, basically saying AK is the master. You guys are just his puppet.
Losing her mind. Right.
Yeah. She was going. We're going on. We have the next. I think. The next, I think there's a few comments from me on that part because I was paying attention.
Okay.
And I think that firstly, in respect of Lockie, what I feel Lockie did was that clarity very well. Like, he was very obvious and the obvious leader. Everyone, do you remember like in those first few episodes on WhatsApp, everyone appealed to Lockie because Lockie's decision maker and sitting in that power position. So they take out Lockie's right hand man and they take out Amy. All of a sudden, Lockie's in the minority. Right. And I think when you sit in that situation where you're calling all the shots and it is really obvious, of course, people are going to kind of like it was I think an easy decision for Peter to kind of be like, well, I'm going to flip over here and take out Amy because it's just too dangerous. What's going on here? They weren't subtle enough.
Right.
No one wants to sit on the bottom of a power alliance. So why not dismantle that early before it starts to get any real traction? I don't think you want to call the shots and have all that power too soon. You know what I mean?
Right.
So all of a sudden we've got this new majority and, they then have to work really hard. And what they should have done, in my view, is straight after that tribal, gone back to Peter and regathered his vote straight away rather than telling him how horrible he was and how could he do this and how it's really hurtful and it was such a big mistake. Rather than doing that and condemning him for it,
right,
they should have brought him back in and said, we understand why you did what you did. He said he needed to do it for his own game. Pander to that. Tell him, okay, we get it. We don't like it. We feel bad about it. We get it. But, let's just regroup and the four of us come back together. Because what they did was they isolated Peter. And then all of a sudden, because AK and Jared are really close, Peter, they basically condemned and said, no, what you did was so horrible. Their only option is to try and appeal to Ziggy. And so they really limited their options based on the way that they handled themselves post the Amy vote.
Right. Right.
And I think that's what they did really wrong. They should have got Peter back straight away.
Right. I agree.
In my view.
They should have worked on that immediately.
Because they already had the relationship with him. He was with them for weeks,
Right.
And an opportunity presented itself. Peter thought it was a good idea, and I think it wasn't a bad move for him. But, the fact that they isolated him after that vote, that was a wrong decision, and it was emotionally driven. And look, Survivor, your feelings get hurt all the time. Especially when you're isolated from the vote. Mm-hmm. You can't be making emotional decisions like that. You need to control your reactions and recognize what's good for your game and kind of go, all right, well, damn, I'm pretty angry at this person, but I need them, and bring them back in. Right. Because before that, now they're appealing for Ziggy's vote. Before that, Ziggy was on the bottom for 2.5 weeks. So why would she all of a sudden want to come over? You can't just all of a sudden reach out when it suits you and then start being like, don't follow AK, don't follow AK. Well, when you had your little Misfits alliance, you didn't really include Ziggy then. Now you need her. You know what I mean? So they should have been appealing to Peter straight away. That's my view on that.
All right. So we're getting closer to where the people are going to be like, okay, that was a couple of episodes ago. We have the challenge where they put the bridge together. Then they have the little thing on the outside. They have to, like a maze that they got to get the key out and then open the bridge. And then they run through it and push this big thing up this hill and all this crap. Well, AK, they kick ass on putting the bridge together. They're doing really well. They got Luke and Ben that's extremely frustrated I think Luke's little bamboo even gets stuck. He's kicking it. They're way behind. Like Luke and Ben are way behind, and AK's team should be kicking ass in this challenge. Somehow they couldn't figure out the puzzle at the end, the maze thing. I mean, it was so frustrating because I'm like, don't go the same way. You're going the same way every time. Like, there's a roadblock there. Go the other way. It was just, I don't know. Sometimes I don't get these people in these puzzles.
I don't know. I didn't get why that didn't work.
So AK's team lost. So I like to write things down to see what happens because I don't go on the internet to see what happens. I don't, as far as I knew, AK was going to get voted out already, and I just haven't seen it yet. So when AK's team loses, they're going to tribal council, and then I write because they're all after him. I mean, Tara's just, that's all she talks about. She's dreaming about getting rid of AK. So I put, let's see if he's good enough to get out of this. Like I wrote down, okay, everybody, it's a good argument at this point to get rid of AK. Extremely good argument for Tara to say, hey, he's too good. He's going to get rid of you sooner or later. So I'm like, all right, let's see what happens. And AK's best move at this point is to get rid of Tara because Tara's just going crazy and going after him. So
yeah, I agree.
So we don't see much conversation with AK, but you see a lot of conversation with everybody else saying, "Let's get rid of AK. Let's get rid of AK." So in my mind, I'm saying, okay, it's not really going like that. Like they're editing this so you would think that it's AK going
just
home.
based on the edit.
But I promise you, AK's this kind of player that's not going to allow that to happen. Like he's talking too. He's not. They just show him walking around all the time.
Oh yeah, he's not sitting around letting it happen.
But that's what they basically
show. Can we also just acknowledge that hilarious comment where he's like, "I'm still going to come back here, not helping with the fight."
Right.
I loved that and literally cracked up.
So we have.
Yeah, I agree. We weren't seeing enough of him for it to have been his exit.
Yeah,
I agree.
So I was thinking,
there would have been more, cameras on him.
Well,
yeah.
He didn't even get the credit of being a great strategic player by convincing his team to stay with him regardless of anything. So what happens at the tribal council? What happens is there's a tie. There's a tie in the vote with AK and Tara. So they got a revote, right? That's how that works. And now Tara can't vote and AK can't vote. But I had a good feeling that AK was going to stay because 2 of the votes were for Lucky. So
yeah, I mean, there's so much to talk about with that vote. I mean, firstly, what I'll say, as just a little tangent, there was one thing about you said about AK not getting the credit. There was a moment where he got credit for other pieces of work that were going on in some previous episodes, and I really picked up on that. For example, the Peter flip, and we had the conversation with Jericho talking to Peter in the water.
Right.
Not Jericho, sorry, Jared talking to Peter in the water. And Jared handled that conversation absolutely beautifully. He really made it seem like it was Peter's idea. And I think there's a lot of work going on in the conversations we see from Jared that is not necessarily translating fully because we don't get the confessionals from Jared. So even though Jared pulled off that amazing conversation, Peter walked away feeling as though it was completely all his own idea. And I don't know, for me, it was like Jared was really planting those seeds, would then get the confessional from AK. So it's kind of being attributed to AK. So I think he does get a lot of moves attributed to him. Whereas in this situation where, as you say, like the whole tribe stuck by him, despite all of the chaos that was going on, we're getting a lot from Ziggy, don't you think?
Yes, I think so.
A lot from Ziggy. And she was really playing both sides really hard there. I'm really interested in your thoughts about whether she needed to play the other side as hard as she did, considering she stayed with AK.
You see, it starts getting dangerous, especially when you're playing with a strategic mind like AK. Now, this vote here was a little crazy because you also have Annalise that decides to.
She was all over the shop with that vote.
Yeah, and the thing is, She didn't have to be. You see,
No,
none of
she
them.
didn't.
None of them. You don't have to play that hard so fast. The game just started. So why do you roll the dice when you don't have to? You know.
Well, I don't. We were talking about that, right? So, what was Annalise's? What options did she have? I mean, she knew it was a split vote, right?
She stays with AK. She jumps on his back for a little while. She makes him.
I agree because
somebody
there
needs
was
to
nothing
jump
else
on his back and say, Man, I am your ride or die. It doesn't matter. I'm with you because that's
there was nothing else she could have achieved either. Like even on a split vote, like if say there's whatever it is 3-3-2, on a revote it's still going to be Tara. Like I don't think that there was the numbers couldn't have stacked.
It should have never been a split vote. That's what I'm saying.
I guess they just really thought that they had Ziggy.
Right. It's
they
a
just
horrible move by Annalise to switch and because as soon as she did that, she was toast.
Yeah,
and
then again, she flipped her vote at the voting booth.
Right.
And I think if you're going to stick to your guns in the first place and in the first vote, then on the revote you probably should have just stick to your guns again, because otherwise you're just looking flippity floppy all over the place.
Yeah, it was a bad move, and that's why I say, hey, if you don't have to roll your dice, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't put yourself out there so early in a game like that. And that's what she did. She tried to make a big move, and I applaud that. But it was the wrong timing. It's too early.
Well, I get it if she was trying to reclaim some control back, but I guess I just didn't understand where she was going with it. I mean, the only thing she could have done was was capitalize on the split, and she must have really thought Ziggy was with them, because that's the only way she had the numbers, was if Ziggy was 100% with them.
Like, this is what drives me crazy, and I'll tell you something that happened when I played my third time. Now, production wants AK to stay in the game. I guarantee it. So, guys, think deeper than what you're thinking. Think like this. If production wants AK to stay in the game, wouldn't it be smart to get on AK's side? I'm just saying. Because there's little things. Production does not tell you what to do. I'm sure it's the same situation with y'all. But there's little things that they may try to, the questions that they ask you, you can get information from that. You understand what I'm saying?
You can. You absolutely can, yeah. If
you're smart.
Onto,
right.
Yeah, you definitely can, yeah.
So why not?
But they can also misfeed you things too.
Right, of course, yes. But I don't understand why everybody agrees that AK is a great player. And then you have these other people that are trying to gun for him when they know he's a great player. It's like sitting at the poker table with a pro. It's like they have 10 poker tables, okay? 10 of them.
Yeah, but we know this because we've experienced it.
Hold on.
Okay, go on.
So you have 10 poker tables, and 9 of the poker tables are all pros, and that last 10 one is just a random draw of whoever. You're not going to sit at a poker table with all the pros. You're going to sit with just random people because...
Yeah.
Or if you were going to bet on it, you would bet with the pro. So you would play, if you had money on it, you would play with the pro. So why wouldn't you play with AK?
Yeah, I see what you're saying completely, but I think that's just something that comes with having experienced it. You would think like that now, but you've got so much Survivor experience under your belt. When you're like out there and you're not necessarily as savvy to production.
Well,
say if you played again, if I played again, you'd be all over it. But I think first time play, I don't know,
Well, we went over this last time.
I don't know.
When you say first time players, you giving them a little credit and you forgiving them because they're first time players. But me, okay, they're first time players and they're only time players because they won't ever play again because they don't make the right decisions to get recognized to be able to go further in the game. Even though Annalise, if that would have worked for you and you would have got out AK, which was highly unlikely, then then you would have became a big player. But it wasn't going to happen for a bunch of different reasons, and I'm sure she's aware of that now.
Well, the whole thing, yeah, exactly. And, I hope that she capitalizes on this lifeline because, I mean, it's a huge, huge lifeline.
Oh,
Look, I mean, twofold things about that. Firstly, she should never have, with Tara, I'm like, well, she kind of got voted out. And I feel like personally, if you get voted out, you should go home. That's how I feel about Survivor.
Me too.
I hate it. I don't like those twists. I think, the tribe voted you off, you got to go. Especially if the whole tribe was tricked into thinking you were going home.
Okay.
With Annalise, she never really deserved that. I mean, it went wrong for her, but I kind of, her getting the lifeline is way more acceptable to me because it wasn't her vote off, it just happened to be that they had to swap another person.
Tell the audience what's going on. We have Annalise gets voted out and Tara gets voted out, and first Tara, then Annalise, and they're standing there.
Yeah.
They're just standing there. And he's like, you're not going home. You're going to, what is it? Exile Island.
Yeah, right.
So they're not going home. And then what happens to them, the next episode starts. And this is the last episode, the most recent episode. What happens is the two people that got voted out just now they have to swap with two people from the other tribe. And it was very interesting to me that Henry decided to swap. Henry and Ben swapped with Annalise and Tara. Now their team is horrendously horrible in challenges. And now the other team is a freaking powerhouse.
Yeah, I don't understand that decision from Henry. I think he's spoken publicly about it. I want to read it. I haven't yet. But I just don't get why he did that.
The only thing that I can see,
he screwed his alliance in that decision completely.
The only thing that I can see is what we don't see, and he felt threatened by Luke, and thought that Luke was going to get the better of him, and he wanted out.
I don't know. I don't know about that.
You must be buddies with this guy or something, because
I'm not. I think there's more to it. I like to think that he's playing strategically and not emotionally.
I like the move. By the way, I wrote down.
I don't see.
I wrote down.
I don't like it.
I wrote down best move he's made so far.
See, I don't like it. The reason I don't like it, and I completely disagree with that, Russell.
You know why?
Is because
he was going. Right? Luke was going to get the best of him. Luke was going to win that battle.
No way. Luke didn't have the numbers. I don't think so. What he's done by making this decision. Let me give my point of view. Is he's got the last vote was the Mark vote, and on the wrong side of the numbers on the Mark vote you have Luke, Jericho, and I don't know, one other person. Was it Michelle or something like? I'm not sure. You got three people on the wrong side of the numbers of the Mark vote, who voted for Jackie, and now what you do is you leave. So all of a sudden, it was maybe Ben or whatever, I don't even remember, but you leave a situation where you then have three people who are not in the main alliance on the wrong side of the vote, and then the other four, there were five. So they have, Kent, Sarah, and Odette. You've got four there, and Henry was the fifth, and then you leave these other three people over the other side because Ben leaves and Henry leaves. So it's now 4 and 3. And then they have two other people come into the tribe with Tara and Annalise. And where do you think those two people are going to go? Do you think they're going to go? Or are they going to form a new majority with the three people who are on the wrong side of the vote? And you see the natural response of the four who had all this power all of a sudden kind of go, oh, shit. And then you see the people who were craving that power, like Luke, just in all their glory, kind of go, this is going to be amazing, and welcome to Asanga, baby. I'm going to sweep you guys up real quick.
Right.
So, he screwed them, and he put his alliance into the minority by making that decision. So I think it was bad because it's like people that you're reconnecting with come another swap.
Yeah, but he did it for a reason.
And he's literally lost the person.
Well, he did it for a reason.
But Jackie's gone. Like, it backfired so hard. I don't like it.
Well, he had a reason to do that, though.
Sorry, Henry, I don't like it.
But still, I'm saying, he had some.
It's so ballsy, I think that he's going into the other tribe blind.
Okay, tell me what happened with Henry. What is he saying?
Yeah. Yeah, so just having a look at what he said, and he said that as it stands, he has 100% control at Asaga. I built great relationships with Jackie, Kent, Sarah, Odette, even Ben and Michelle, so I had the vast majority, but zero control at Summertown. I knew it'd be powerful if I could go over there with Ben. I figured I had him as a shield and an idol, and I thought taking my physical abilities from Asaga and adding them to the likes of Lockie and Ziggy would really make us dominate challenges. I didn't think we'd head to tribals so much, so I figured if I could get to the merge, put myself on the bottom and survive that, then I'd have all the information, alliances, and relationships built both in Asaga and Summertown. I'd be in the most powerful position in the game.
I don't know if I believe that. I mean, you're telling me, I think it was just either it was a good move or bad move. I think it was a bad move.
I think it was a bad move too. There's nothing in that makes me reconsider that it was a good move.
Yeah, is that me or you?
That's me. I'm at the client's house and their
What is that?
phone rings. Oh, I don't know. Someone's ringing again. Sorry.
Okay, so the answer machine's going to pick up any time now.
It's gone. Okay. Yeah, I think that,
I don't believe that all that went through Henry's head, that whole scenario in that moment.
I don't think so either. I don't think he had time to think like that in that moment.
Right.
But I think what he probably did think in that moment was, okay, I've got all the good relationships here. I'm sitting pretty here. I've got an idol. I might go build up some relationships on the other side. I think that probably did go through his head.
Okay, so now you have him. So their switch happens, and you have Henry heading over there with his charm, and AK is just sitting there watch him try to charm everybody, and it is like here comes John Wayne, my friend, and he's about to take him out.
Well, yeah, AK was onto it straight away.
He
that's
didn't
for
like
sure.
that. He didn't like that at all.
No, but I mean, it's true what he's saying though, that they look like between Ziggy and Lockie and Henry and your AK, like, I mean,
you see how me and you
look and challenge strong.
Me and you are trying to figure out what Henry's thinking was, why he did that. Well, AK is such a great player. That's exactly what he was saying.
Yes, I agree.
Like,
and
it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, why would you? And there's got to be some reason, especially. And the thing that I think that was also a little bit erroneous was that when they asked him when he first arrived, did you guys feel like you're on the bottom? Was there a reason why you came over? I think the only situation that works, and something that I chatted a little bit about it with Adam, and he brought it up actually, was that he should have said that they got voted off, or rather than saying, oh no, we all mutually agreed. Right. Because then that does plant the seed in someone's mind, like AK's mind, like, well, why would you agree to come?
Right.
Why would you agree to come? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, there's got to be something in it for you.
Yeah.
You don't come for no reason.
They should have got together and said, yep.
Yeah. And look, eventually that's going to come undone when you remerge again, but you've got to survive this part of the game first.
Right. And then you have Henry is trying to immediately take control of the camp. And, he does what he does best. But the problem...
Charmy. He is charming.
Well, the problem with that is you got AK on that side. So, and AK tells him that he's at the bottom, which, again, sometimes I think that was a bad move, saying that he's at the bottom, because obviously he should know that Lockie's going to tell him differently. Yeah. Oh, with AK saying, yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, yes and no. That said, I mean, he didn't tell him. It wasn't so untrue. I mean, people have been gunning for him every tribal. Right. Yeah, and so no, it's not untrue. It's true.
It wasn't untrue, because
they are gunning for him.
He's got a lot of votes. That's right.
So now
I think he didn't lie, but he didn't give him everything either.
Well, you have Lockie and Henry now talking about what? Getting rid of AK.
Yeah.
So it's like, man.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But, I don't know. I don't know where those numbers are going to... I hope those numbers aren't going to come from anywhere. Who could... I mean, you've still got AK, Peter, Ziggy, Jared.
I don't know.
and who else am I missing? That's it, right? Am I missing someone? Probably.
Yeah. So we get, and then you have.
Am I missing anyone?
It's funny
I don't
how
know.
during this time Jackie's nervous now because her name is on the block, and she says, "Let's stay a
She knew it
what
too.
is it? A saga? Let's say a saga strong, guys." Really? Jackie's really saying that after she gets rid of her best player?
That was a little bit too late. They should have, instead of trying to do a Sung of Strong, because they weren't a Sung of Strong. Everyone should have been pitching to the girls straight away, probably.
Yeah, and then on the other side you have Luke, that's playing his little game.
I don't know. It's hard to know. I think when you go from this position of control, yeah.
Right, and then on the other side you have Luke. He's playing his little game that he does, and he's trying to get Annalise and Tara on his side and put them in his pocket. Them
Hello.
two.
Sorry, Russell, you broke up there for a minute, but I think you were talking about Luke.
You hear me now?
Yes. Yep.
We're gonna put my editor to work on this one.
Sorry, editor.
No, it's not. It's not. It's just the connection. The connection's bad. But let me start over with that. So now you have Luke talking to Annalise and Tara to try to put them two in his pocket. Now I think Luke, he's a loose cannon. Yeah, I agree with that. But he's also playing some good strategic game here.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think what we saw was very natural from everybody, like we talked about earlier. You've got Luke and Jericho and I think whoever the other, I don't remember who else the other one was. They're on the wrong side of the vote, on the Mark vote. Of course, they're going to pitch for those two girls straight away. They're not a Sung or Strong. And
Right.
it was silly for the majority to think that they would be a Sung or Strong after they were on the wrong side of the vote on the last vote.
Yeah.
You have to consider those divides. And you have to know that they're going to pitch to those girls straight away. And instead of going, let's just be a Sung or Strong, they should have got to the girls first.
And that last challenge, the immunity challenge, I said, everybody, it's obvious. They're a powerhouse now. They should keep winning. And it showed in that water challenge how they were just walking through it. And, they could have sat there and missed and missed and missed. It didn't matter because they were the ones that get the ball most of the time. And then now you have Sarah. Was it Sarah and Jackie that's in trouble? Them two's in trouble. And, this episode, that last episode, I guess it's because, the previous episode, I was getting freaking heartburn watching the damn thing. Now, I hope some producers I hope some producers from America Survivors watching this, because this is how it should be. This is some good stuff. And, it keeps everything interested. I know you played and you got burnt by something that production put into the game, but that's part of the game. It's part of the fun, and it keeps viewers watching.
It's part of the fun, as long as it doesn't happen over and over again.
Well, it's good, entertaining
I just
television.
hope that it doesn't keep happening to the same players.
It's
yeah,
good
I
stuff.
know, and that's the point, isn't it, really?
Right now, the American Survivor it's just, some of it's just boring. It's just slow and boring, and they need fresh blood.
I love American Survivor.
No, it's getting boring, and that's the bottom line. And it needs fresh blood. Listen, you can sit there and love it all you want, but when the numbers say that it's the worst season in the history of the game, that means that CBS will cut it. And then it won't be no longer. So we can sit there and praise Survivor just because we like it. But then guess what happens? We lose it. So what needs to happen, because this Game Changer season was the worst in Survivor history with numbers. And what they need to do is get fresh blood. I had a partner of mine that now makes $70 million a year. He told me, the more that you change, the more it stays the same. So what I think they need to do is get new blood, and because Australian, they have producers, the executive producers that's making these decisions. They're doing a brilliant job. And the show stays extremely interesting. You stay on the end of your seat to watch it. You're waiting, and
it's good.
You're nervous for whoever you like.
They are doing an amazing job.
So
I agree. They are doing an amazing job, and the production quality and standard is amazing. I completely agree, and I'm like very grateful that we have a really good quality version of Survivor in Australia. I don't love some of the production twists. I can't lie about that, but
I like it.
The show, yeah,
I like it.
Well,
and it's what the U.S. needs to do. They need to do twists like that more into the game. And I know they do things sometimes, but we need more twists like that to keep it going because we're in.
Totally. Twists are good. I like twists. Twists are great, but I don't like tricking your players. Right. Tell them that this. Do you know what I mean? Like vote them off, but don't make them think you're voting someone off to go home, because, like,
I see what you're saying as a player. I see what you're saying, but like
as a viewer,
like Big Brother says,
expect
the unexpected.
Oh, but like, how can you reasonably expect that?
You can't.
You can now. Now we know that that's how Australian Survivor works. You can, but like.
Anyway, Jackie goes home, and then
I don't know.
We'll we can have this discussion.
And can we also can we acknowledge Jackie? Jackie played a great game. Played a great game. She did really well. She was screwed over, but I think she did well. I liked her. I liked her a lot. Well, I think she played really hard. She played well.
She needs to blame Henry. But I just wanted to say she goes home so we can just discuss this a little bit more about production. I think that the way that they're doing it is that you're getting another season for sure. And, I talked to some huge fans, super fans of American Survivor. And I got them to start watching the Australian Survivor. And I'm getting text back from them, specifically 2 different people, saying how amazing the season is. They're like, man, this is crazy. This is crazy good. Even on my Patreon page with my fan page for my podcast, that's all they do is talk about the Australian version of Survivor, because it's just, they're doing a really good job. I like that they do that. Hey,
I love it too, and I do agree. It is an amazing season. We are getting so much entertainment value. Everyone's there to play. I love this season, and we're getting so much good stuff. And I agree that production has done an amazing job, and I have so much praise for them. There's just certain I just don't like tricking your players, but again, like, it's probably too soon, because I was tricked last year, so I'm probably a bit anti for a reason. Right. I can acknowledge my own bias. I totally can.
Part of the game.
But I'm human. Come on.
It's not tricking, though. It's just playing. They're playing the game too. You better believe it. So
no, I know they are.
Their job is to get another season.
But how do you? Let's talk about this though. How does this now affect AK?
The swap, or the way the production is all these twists in the game.
Okay, the swap. I mean, firstly, you've got 2 people that are never going to work with him again and never trust him again. You've also got the fact that those 2 people who are very upset with him now go to the other tribe and spill all the beans and talk about how big of a player AK is and how much AK needs to go home. And AK gets no influence over how that information is delivered. Like, that sucks.
Right. Well, let's...
maybe you don't send the people who hate you if,
Well,
especially when and they're on the wrong side of the numbers. Everyone on Summertown don't have numbers against a Sanger.
I have more... you know what I mean? Let's put it this way. I have more hope for Annalise than I do Tara. I think that she's going to mess up somewhere. She's going to go home. Somewhere along the line. Now, so that means when the merge happens... they may have both of them there. They may have just one, but he should be strong enough to be with if his team stays together. You see, the whole thing. The whole thing now is what's going to happen with Henry and AK. That's what's happening. That's all we're talking about.
I would rather see them work together than. Don't you reckon? Like, you kind of want to see. You don't want to see either of them go anytime soon.
If my theory's right,
I want to see them.
If my theory's right, then Henry goes after Lockie, even though they're talking about working together. If my theory's right, Lockie is the alpha male that Henry's threatened by, and if that happens, then you have to agree that I am 100% right on what I say about he's threatened by any alpha male.
Okay, we will definitely revisit this when it plays out.
Right.
I'll agree if that happens. Maybe.
Because AK
Depends.
Even
Depends.
AK could be an alpha male. He's not considered one.
No, which is good.
Good.
Because AK is not a provider either, and
Right.
he doesn't want to be.
Hell no.
And I love that. He's like, I will be back at this camp, still not helping with the fire. I bloody love that. It's
Right.
hilarious.
Right.
And I love Luke's one-liners as well. Like, you know that one where
Luke's
he was like,
gold.
I'm gonna take they're gonna take out Robin and then I'll come for Batman later.
Right. He's gold. I like him.
I love him. I love his confessionals. He's so funny.
Yeah, he's
And like
funny.
every time he's on the screen, he just gives so much. Such good casting.
Yeah, love him. So Phoebe.
My favorites are definitely Luke and AK.
Oh,
And I
definitely.
like Tessa too. We never talked about how she, had Tarzan give her an idol. Like, that's pretty good. And now she's in the majority. She's repositioned herself beautifully.
Yeah, everybody else is just being overshadowed by these two crazy. There's really three really crazy personalities that's taken over the which is fine, and that's how it works. You have, people playing the game differently and get more attention. It's just how it works. But
But Tessa's doing well. That's what you got to say. She's done a good job considering she was on the bottom. Now she's in the majority. She had someone play an idol for her. Her narrative's looking good so far. She doesn't seem to be a target anymore. She does pretty well in challenges. Like, I'm quite impressed. I think she's done real well.
She's doing good. So Phoebe, this is it. This is we just discussed all this at one time, and we have another 2 episodes coming, and I'm gonna have to find you. Got to find Phoebe. We're gonna do a hashtag. Where's Phoebe?
I promise you, I will be more available for you, Russell.
I'm glad I didn't go to Give Kids the World. I would have been like,
why?
I would have been like,
You would have
Phoebe,
been
we need an interview. We need an interview.
Yeah,
and you'd been running all over the place. All kind of different boys chasing you every night. A different one following Phoebe. There goes another child following Phoebe around.
Child. Again, Russell, I'm in America. I can pledge a fifth on that. I'm not going to incriminate myself.
A guy as a child from 25 to 18, he's still a child. So.
Well, look. Yep. So. Yep.
Yep.
So yep. That's right.
All right,
So, yeah.
Phoebe.
But I'm flying back to Australia this weekend, so we'll be good for next week. And I will be watching live with Australia on Sunday.
That's good.
I land on Sunday. If I manage to stay awake the whole night, that is, because I'll be jet lagged. But
okay.
Yep. So we'll be back
schedule.
making sure our podcasts are on time. Yes. And apologies to everybody for being late on this one. But here it is. Hope you liked it.
Here it is. We'll do another one next time. And we'll get some dirt. We got to get some dirt out of what happened in Give Kids the World. I need some dirt. Or listeners deserve dirt. We
My
deserve
lips are
it.
sealed, Russell. I'm a vault. I'm a nice, trustworthy alliance member.
I'm gonna do like Corinne and Max do, and get me a spy.
Don't you
Get
dare!
me a spy over there. A good looking spy. I may even hire one.
Yeah. Which one?
I'm gonna hire Henry.
There's a few.
I'm gonna hire Henry to be my spy next year.
Great. I'm not going.
Oh, look at you.
Just kidding.
Okay.
Cool. Okay. Well, good chatting with you, Russell. I'm glad we finally managed to get it done. We'll chat again in a few days, I guess, next week.
I'll let you know. It'll be next week sometime. You know how I just get confused with the times. Like my 4 o'clock my time is like 7 in the morning your time. It's like, so somewhere around there before work.
All right, we'll work it out.
All right,
we'll sort it next week. Okay, we'll speak soon.
Talk to you later.